Okay. I know that there are people from all over the world. I do want to ask if everyone would keep themselves muted, please, to avoid distractions, but we will definitely be having time for active questions. And as I introduce myself, and Marzi is about to introduce herself, would love it if all of you would use the chat. I think you can all use the chat feature and just say who you are and where you're joining from. I'm for those who I don't know, which I think is many of you, although I think many of you are on my mailing list. I'm Jonathan Feldstein. I'm the president of the Genesis 123 Foundation. I am in Israel in my home right now, and Shabbat just ended, Sabbath, the day of rest, and now back to work. And this is exciting for you all to be here. Um, I, wow, I've been living, actually this week, I've been living in Israel for 20 years with my family, and we have 6 children, 3 born and 3 grandchildren who are born, and one who's hoping to visit, uh, make his or her presence known to us in about a month from now, which is pretty exciting. And for most of my career, actually, it's interesting, Marzi and I didn't meet until many years later, but I spent several years living in Atlanta, studied at Emory University. I worked at the Israeli consulate in Atlanta before moving back up to the north to New Jersey, where I'm originally from, and then 20 years ago moving here. Most of my career has been in nonprofit work, and especially since I'm here in Israel, it's really been the fulfillment of a calling to be building bridges with Jews and Christians with Israel. And in that capacity, back in 2017, I started what's called the Genesis 123 Foundation, which is a US-based nonprofit that has as its mission to build bridges between Jews and Christians with Israel in ways that are new, unique, and meaningful. And we do that in a lot of ways. And as people get to know me if they don't know me, or certainly when you come here in October to participate in our Root and Branch project, which will be so exciting, we'll get to know each other a lot better. But the reason that we're here now, and I'm really so excited about it, is something that's completely innovative, one of the most exciting things that I think I've had the privilege of being involved with. And I don't think I'm looking to see if I can figure out. I know that Arlene Samuels registered to join us today. So if she sees this afterward, ultimately how we're here now, and I'll kind of wrap up my part at the moment, is about a year and a half ago, I got an email from my friend Arlene who said, you have to meet my new friend Marzi in Atlanta. And because Arlene knows that I host a podcast called Inspiration from Zion, and she thought that I should interview Marzi for my podcast. And if you don't know Marzi, you're about to get to know Marzi as well. So about a month later, Marzi was a guest on my podcast. That was, I guess, in February, or yeah, about February of 23. And a month and a half later, she was here in Israel for the very first time. So we got to know each other, we become good friends, and through that friendship, just an ongoing communication, and this amazing project was born. And as I tell people about it, maybe Marzi, you'll remind people, because I don't remember exactly how the idea came up, but to bring Christians to harvest olives was a great idea then, and now um, for reasons that I wish didn't exist because of the war that's going on, is super important and will be super powerful. So we're here today to talk with you about the vision, to share with you what we know and can share. And we're not going to not share anything. This is a completely transparent conversation. And I believe that there'll be more questions than we have necessarily concrete answers, but we want to give you as many answers as possible. But before that, I just would like to introduce my good friend Marzi Amirizadeh, and share a little bit about yourself for people who don't know you and our vision.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. Nice to meet you, everyone. I know a few of my friends here, and I would like to thank each one of them for taking time to join this amazing project. And also, I'm very honored to get to know other people who joined. Hopefully, we can meet in person in future. So before I start introducing myself, I wanted to say that it is a true honor for me to be a co-founder of this great project, Root and Branch. And I'm also so honored for this friendship with Jonathan. He explained how we got to know each other and we built this friendship. And now we are working on this amazing project. For those of you who do not know me, I was born in Iran and I moved to the United States in 2011. I'm a proud American, and America is my home, and Israel definitely is my spiritual home. So I was in prison in 2009. I got arrested and with my friend, and because of our Christian faith, we were sentenced to death by hanging. And I was witness to many brutality, execution of my friends. And before prison, the regime killed my husband, many brutalities that I experienced in my life. But praise God, with his grace and his miracle and many international pressures on the regime and many Christians who advocated for our case, I got released and I moved to the United States, and I started my mission by speaking, writing my books. 2 books I wrote, Captive in Iran, which is all about my imprisonment, and second book, A Love Journey with God, that I shared both on my website, marzisjourney.com, for those who are interested to know more, to get to know me more. But our focus is about this great project. And as Jonathan mentioned, it was through my first trip to Israel, I got to know him and we built this friendship. I met his amazing family. They invited me for Shabbat. And Jonathan, I don't know exactly where exactly and when this project started, but you know that I was very interested regarding olive trees in Israel, and I asked lots of questions. I think maybe that was the beginning. And also in my heart, I always wanted to support Israel because this is, as I mentioned, Israel is a spiritual home, my home, and there are many biblical sites there, and it's the land of my Savior. So, and especially being born in Iran, you know that the Islamic Republic regime is behind all these terrorist activities against Israel. They are the supporter of Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, and all these terrorist activities. And Hamas, October 7th, happened by their support. And being born in Iran and experiencing the harsh rules of Islam and the system of brainwashing children about anti-Semitism, they try to brainwash, Iranian people from the beginning they came to power. And I know their ideology, their dangerous ideology. They always try to demonize Jews. But praise God, more than 20 years ago, I became a Christian, and God opened my eyes to many truths, to the great history of friendship between Persians and Jews. So I'm very honored to be part of this project and supporting my Jewish brothers and sisters. And nowadays, especially after Hamas attack, majority of Iranians support Israel, and they are standing with Israeli people. And the reason is that because we are fighting against a common enemy. And majority of Iranians, like me, they suffered and they lost the life of their loved ones. And that's why we understand who Israel is fighting against. That's why we support Israel and we stand with Israel. And this is important for me, since I was born in Iran, to show to this regime that I stand with Israel and support Jewish people. So finally, in second trip, Jonathan, arranged some meetings that we could meet some key people in Israel and those communities that were affected by, impacted by terrorists who brutally killed, massacred lots of Israeli people. And the second trip to Israel was painful to me because I experienced all those traumas, and to some extent, not to that level, but as I mentioned, I experienced many brutality of these evil terrorists. So when I visited those communities, that how brutally, in barbaric ways, they destroyed the life of many Israeli people, Jewish people, it really broke my heart. There were many times it was so hard for me to not to cry, because I feel so connected to this kind of brutality that they did against Israeli people. So also we had a great opportunity to sit and talk to a few of those people who survived this brutal attack, and talking to them. And that was interesting to me when I was talking with Jonathan, when I was talking to that person who almost 1/3 of his community were killed by Hamas terrorists. And I could see the trauma in him when he was talking. He had tears in his eyes many times, and I could feel it because, as I mentioned, I experienced those brutality in my life as well. And one question that I asked him was that how we can help you. And his answer was very interesting to me. He said, I asked him, what do you want? And he said, love. And that got my attention. And later I talked to you, Jonathan, that this is very important, especially for us as Christians. I think this is this responsibility of every Christian at this important time, critical time that Israel is under attack by terrorists, by the Islamic Republic regime, to stand with them and to support them, to show our love to our brothers and sisters, our Jewish brothers and sisters. So I was thinking, okay, how we can show our love to Israeli people who are under attack. There are many anti-Semitism all around the world, and these people are hurt not only physically, but their business, their community, their homes. We visited homes that it was unbelievable. I think many all Christians should travel and see by their own eyes that how they ruined the lives of many people in Israel. And I have some friends there, they have businesses, and they were so sad that how these brutal war and what the terrorists are doing affected their businesses. So I was thinking, okay, so as Christians, how we are supposed to show our love to our Jewish brothers and sisters is not just by saying that we love you, we support you, we stand with you. We should show it in action. And the reason we created this project, I think through this amazing project, which we got the inspiration from from the book of Romans, chapter 11, that described that Gentiles, Jews are the roots and Gentiles are the branches, how root and branches support each other. And I think that's one way that we can show our love to these people, to the community, by helping them, by standing with them. I was telling to my friends that
Marzi, you got muted. You're muted.
can you
There we
hear
go.
me?
Yeah.
Before the war, it was easy to travel to Israel and enjoy the biblical sites, visiting biblical sites. But I think now it's the time that we as Christians should stand with Israel and show our support in action. And as I mentioned, these people are hurt so much, and this is our responsibility. And this also gives us a great opportunity not to support our brothers and sisters in Israel, but also to build a friendship with Jewish people, to show them that no matter the word, how much the word is spreading hate against Jews in Israel, is Israeli people, but we as Christians, we stand with you, we support you, we help you to build your community, to build your home again, because they destroy many homes. And through this amazing project, it's not just about building the friendship, and there is through economic way also we can help. Part of their resources goes to the community to help them to rebuild their community. um, I just, I wanted to share that this is, I'm so passionate about this project, no matter what's happening in Israel, but I really wanted to show my support and my love to Jewish people through this project. And Jonathan, I'll let you to continue if
Great.
you wanted to
Thank
add.
you. Thank you. Okay, Marzi, terrific. Um, yeah, it's really powerful. And as you were speaking, the converse, I remember so vividly, we were exchanging WhatsApp messages last summer where a big epiphany came through about how and why this project is important. And I remember exactly where I was in the country, but unfortunately for so many reasons, it's that much more important because as you saw, we could, if the war hadn't happened, the idea of bringing people to volunteer and harvest olives and make olive oil has so much significance in Romans, leave it to the Orthodox Jew in the room to quote Romans 11 and the prophecy in Ezekiel about the land blossoming again when we came back, and so much more that is significant. But Marzi just alluded to the fact of the economic impact of the war. And recently I read that just from the work of volunteers coming to harvest other crops, not olives, $50 million worth of crops were saved. And that's been very hard because for so many reasons, since October 7th, we've lost so much crops. And now that we're doing this, I've learned how much, in fact, the olive harvest was also damaged because olives have to be harvested in a certain time because that season is just after the war began. Foreign workers all fled. There weren't enough volunteers, and people who I've been in touch with lost essentially their entire crops, and that changes things. Now, when Marzi was here, we were both last month. We both learned that this year is expected to be a very good crop, so all the more significant that we want to do this. I just have to acknowledge, complete pause. I'm going to miss somebody. It's why I hate introducing people and acknowledging individuals because I feel bad. But Dr. Jacob Persley just said, introduce himself from Armenia. We've got South Africa. We've got the UK. We've got Argentina. Goodness, I know I've already lost or forgotten a few people, and I'm so excited. Germany. I'm so excited that you're all here. What I like to do for the next few minutes, several minutes, is talk about the vision specifically. And for those of you who registered and asked questions in advance, I want to try to do my best to answer those questions, but then we're going to open it up for more questions. But I do, if you know me, you know this is true. If you're getting to know me, I hope you'll know that this is true. I'm a completely transparent person. And it's important to restate up front that there are just a lot of things that we don't know the answers to yet. The things, because we are only launching this now, Marzi was only here last month when everything finally clicked together. And we're talking about bringing you here in less than 3 months at the end of October. So things are coming together quickly. We are still in a situation of war here, and we'll talk about what the implications of that. The funny thing, and I've been very honest with the people, if you looked at any of the videos and the updates that I sent out last week, or I should say earlier this week, I had some amazing meetings down in the Gaza border area with people who are really excited for us to come and harvest their olives. But there are so many variables. We don't know which of you will be here. We don't know how many of you there will be. We don't know how many olive trees we can harvest in a day. And what we do know is it takes about 4 to 5 kilos of olives to make 1 liter of olive oil, but we don't know how big the trees are that we will harvest and how many kilos and how much olive oil. So there are a lot of big variables. But what we do know, the dates we've picked are October 27th, Sunday the 27th, until I think it's the 5th. We are looking at the possibility, especially for those of you coming here perhaps for the first time or just want to extend and do more sightseeing or maybe even more olive harvesting. We're going to look at the extension, but we're talking about a 10-day package, so nobody has to feel pressured to be away for too long. And we're getting the pricing on this right now, but I think I can confidently say that we're looking at a 10-day package that's around $2,400, $2,500. We're waiting to confirm a lot of details. I don't want to make it much more than that. I think that that's a really good price. That will include, it does not include air, and we'll come back and talk about airfare. And I think intuitively, because we have so many people with so much interest from so many different parts of the world, I can't include a price with airfare when someone's coming from North Carolina and someone's coming from the UK and someone's coming from Armenia. So the prices will be different. We are including for most days 3 meals. That's really important. I think the days that won't be are the days that you do the touring. And for me, it's essential. First of all, I'm an Orthodox Jew. Shabbat is the day of rest. You can't harvest olives. I don't know how physically strenuous that's going to be, but we can't do that 7 days in a row and then adding more days. So we're going to need to have that downtime. And that's why God gave us an important commandment in the day of rest. So I'm really looking forward to that. And in the course of that 10 days, we're projecting that 3 of them will be touring days, days off, and days around Jerusalem, possibly the Galilee, certainly maybe southern Israel, where we're going to be doing the harvest. And I sent you the sample itinerary. I just want to underscore that that was really a very basic sample. What was missing in that itinerary, and Marzi and I spoke about it Friday morning Eastern time, was that we also, it's not it's intuitive. We want to build bridges. Yes, we want to pick olives, but we want to connect you to the people. So I don't forget, while you're all who are going to participate are going to be part of a pilot project, we don't know exactly how it will go. I do believe that this is something that is not only needed, but needed this coming year, but in general, and has the ability to build to be something quite big and quite magnificent. This year is really important. It's hard even to talk about it, but Marzi witnessed it here. I've been down to the Gaza border a number of times. I'm not sure, Pauschali, I'm seeing my friend from Germany who's joining. I don't know who else has been here since October 7th. It's terribly important, as Marzi alluded to bear witness, to comfort, to build bridges and create relationships. But this year, and probably next year, will be the last years, the only times that for many of the communities in which we're going to be going to harvest their olives will actually be able to physically still witness in person the devastation. It's going to make you cry. It might make you nauseous. It might drop you on your knees in prayer spontaneously. But we need to see that. And we need to know, to be able to bear witness, especially this year, and especially why we've chosen to do this first year's olive harvest in and along the Gaza border area, to give you that experience. Most of the communities that we're going to will, by the next year or two, completely demolish all of the buildings that the terrorists attacked and burned. And in fact, Marzi and I spent an afternoon in Sderot, the largest city there along the Gaza border, which the deputy mayor of Sderot is very excited for us to come and pick the olives that they just use as landscaping. There are hundreds of olive trees, just landscaping. And as I drove through Sderot on Tuesday this week, I noticed that what was the former grounds of the police station that had been attacked by terrorists, that has now already been closed off. You can't even see the former infrastructure of the police station that the terrorists attacked. Now they're building a memorial there. So it's an important year. Let me use this opportunity before talking about the itinerary and other details relating to that as I'm talking about the situation. I know even if you didn't ask the question, security, if it's not the first question, it's among the top three questions that you have. I wrote it in the email for those of you who registered before I sent out the email this past week. Um, it's true that the Gaza border area today is the safest part of Israel. Um, that wasn't the case 11 months ago. That wasn't the case 10 months ago. That wasn't the case 9 months ago, maybe not even 8 months ago. Security in the Gaza border because of the war is very strong. We're not worrying about terrorists. The very, very infrequent rocket that's launched, and I know when I say that it sounds weird, but somehow still 10 months later, Hamas still has rockets. And once in a while, once a week-ish, there are rockets that are still launched. What you're going to hear more if we're still engaged in active combat is artillery fire going out from Israel into Gaza. And Marzi can attest to this and speak to it later if she wants. It's not, for me at least, it's not a frightening thing. It's an unnerving thing. It's a scary thing to be there. I will say this, obviously, if things escalate and it's simply not safe, um, this program may not be happening, or it might only be 10 people instead of 30 or 40 people. We're going to do what we can for that reason. So I don't forget, it's super important. It will be in all of the materials that you'll receive to register when we know the details. It's super important that everyone get travel insurance so that should there be any disruption in flights, disruption in ground plans, that you're covered. I would never lie and I would never suggest that the possibility of a much bigger escalation might not happen. And I told Marzi this past week, I was concerned that maybe the threats from Iran and from Hezbollah in Lebanon might prevent me from even being on here tonight. Thank God that hasn't happened. Do pray because we need your prayers. But we're going to be 1,000% on top of the security. And at no point will anyone have to feel, if they're not comfortable coming to Israel, that you have to do so. That's intuitive. Um, the dates we discussed, the general price is out there. We just have to nail down the details of the itinerary, the hotel, the location, and other things before we know the final price. Um, let me give you a sense more. Oh, I printed it. Of the itinerary. Again, what I also said, and I was going to add to this, in addition to the 3 full days of touring with a licensed tour guide, that will be the breaks from the harvest. We will also be offering most days, whether it's late afternoon, dinner time, or after dinner time, an opportunity for you to meet and hear from Israelis who have been impacted by the war directly. Marzi briefly met my friend Elor, who was an ambulance driver in Sderot, that city of 35,000 people, on October 7th. I expect he will share his story and videos and what happened. Um, Certainly, if we're doing harvesting in these gorgeous old olive trees on Kibbutz Be'eri, Marzi and I met a lovely young woman, Hila, who hosted us, and we'll get to know her. We'll get to know other people who are survivors. That's a different kibbutz from the one that Marzi was alluding to when we met my friend Elon, who comes from Kfar Aza. There, they lost about 25% of the community. Kibbutz Be'eri is the largest of the kibbutzes on the Gaza border. Over 100 of the 1,200 residents were killed on October 7th. And you see the devastation, and there are still Israelis from there who are being held hostage in Gaza today. You will have an opportunity to meet and get to know them, pray with them. And we are hoping and anticipating, because everyone here loves the idea, it's not just going to be a frontal conversation, but people from these communities coming to participate with us. They see that what we're looking to do is really exciting, and they want to engage with us. They don't want only to be passive recipients of that. I'll also mention what Marzi said. Part of the plan for this is that these communities will benefit. We're not just going to pick their olives and walk away, but we're going to pay them for these olives, and we're going to give them a percent of the profit that we can make from making olive oil and olive oil products from their olives. The problem is we don't know how much olive oil and what that profit will be. So that's why this year is really important, because you're going to be our guinea pigs on that level. I mentioned travel insurance. At the moment, people ask who can participate. The answer is anyone with a valid passport. If you need a special visa to come to Israel, then we'll have to discuss that separately. But anyone who can come to Israel is invited to be part of this program. And accommodations, someone asked the length. As I said, 10 days. Accommodations, we're looking at hotels in the area. If you're familiar at all with the logistics, Gaza sticks up from Egypt along the coast. In the southwestern part of Israel, there are dozens of communities around there. There are guest houses, and that might be an option for us, but more likely than not, we're going to be looking into hotels either in Ashkelon, which is Israel's southernmost Mediterranean port city, that's about 10 kilometers from Gaza, and or in Beersheba, which is the capital of the Negev. And both of those are more or less equidistant, within half an hour, 40 minutes from the communities that we're going to be going into. Some will be involved, we hope, with the pressing. Marzi and I learned when she was here that to make the highest quality extra virgin olive oil, the olives need to be pressed the same day. So we're looking to make those arrangements. I do want to acknowledge my friend Steve Werp, who's here. Steve and I are going to have a very important conversation about this real soon, because Steve, first of all, his business is amazing, exporting products from Israel to the US, and you can see his sign behind him, Blessed by Israel. But I'm hoping that he'll be involved with the exporting, but Steve's also an expert in olives and olive oil. So we're going to figure out what we can do there, and Steve made some important introductions for us as well. I think at this moment, rather than me ramble, what I would like to do is take a pause and allow anyone. It's a very informal conversation, so you can formally raise your hand, but I can only see part of you. Or just go ahead and unmute yourself, and we'll all be polite so we don't talk over one another. But if there are other questions about things that you had that I didn't address, or other things, or Marzi, is there anything that you wanted to add before we do questions?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
We can let others speak.
Questions, folks?
I have a question.
Sure.
Will people from other faiths be welcome, or is this, or is the program, I don't want to say restricted, but more focused on the Christian community?
Excellent question. We're focused on Christians and building bridges between Jews and Christians with Israel, but there's no limitation. I always tell Jewish friends that when we do something like this, because it's going to be really focused on Christians, that I don't want anyone to come to a program that we're doing and feel uncomfortable, but there's no limitation.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
So I just was wondering, are we talking about like somewhere around $4,000 after you got airfare and everything included?
About depends on where you're flying from. Right now, airfare is a little bit high from the US, or actually high to Israel in general. Hopefully by then, things will be calmer and more airlines flying, and it's simply a supply and demand issue. Airlines are raising their prices now because they can, because so many airlines have canceled or suspended flights. But depending on if you're in the US, David, yeah, in October, round trip
I'm in Florida.
airfare, Florida. So round trip airfare into should in that season be under 1,500. So plus or minus, yeah.
Okay, so about 4,000 with the 2,500 approximately in
Those
that
are round
ballpark.
numbers, right? Those are
Yeah.
round numbers. I feel pretty comfortable in that. I did thank you for the question. I did want to mention while we're not including airfare, we will, and I think it's important for helping people to deal with booking and getting the best rates. But also, if God forbid there's a travel conflict, I'd like to recommend, we're going to look to see if we can find one or two travel agents who have a little bit of an expertise in booking flights. So if for some reason there's an impediment, that you can rely on that person and not be sitting at home frustrated on your own. And if we use one or two travel agents to do that, then we can also advocate for the group.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for that question. Who else? Paushali, yeah.
By when do you think you'll be able to give a final confirmation of this program happening?
Well, the program's going to happen, and Marzi and I need to finalize a number of details, and I'd like to hope that that will be within the next week to 10 days. And at which point then we'll come to all of you who've expressed interest and ask for a deposit, because we're within 90 days, and I don't have exactly the proposals that we received from the travel agents here, the tour operators, but basically they expect payment in I can't think of the English word, stages, with payment in full by 60 days. So we'll need a deposit probably by the end of this month, which will bring us in within 60 days, and then payment in full, the balance will be within by the end of September.
Okay,
We
thank
just
you.
want to work out the details. This is not meant to be a 5-star trip, but I also don't want to put you in a hotel that's not going to be comfortable and appropriate. And especially if we're providing 3 meals, where I have confidence in saying, yeah, you're coming to be in a pilot program. I want you to have a hearty breakfast in the morning and a satisfying dinner in the evening. And then the lunches will be outside.
Thank you.
More questions? About anything, folks?
I have a question. Is that
Sure.
okay? My name is Shiva Rao. I used to work as volunteer through Sarael in military before. I get used to it, to sleep there with them, and whatever you talk, I understand. But now for a long time, I didn't go. And how do you send us a formula how to apply medical and this and that? And visa, I think it's changed from July. We have to apply through email, something like that, I read in the Times of Israel, I don't know.
So I can't speak to visas. I'm not an expert, but where you need a separate visa, then we'll help you look into that. The truth is, I would already not tomorrow, it's Sunday, but on Monday, contact whatever Israeli embassy is either in your country or serving there, and ask the question right now, what's needed for a visa. I think that's a really great way to start.
I was in December there. I don't need visa. I simply go there. But since July, I think it's something, some special rules applied. That's why I'm asking. Okay.
Oh, there's
So
it's a tax. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and-
may I share something? Because I know
sure.
what you're talking about. You're talking about this permit that you need to apply online.
yeah.
And I know that I just heard, at least in Germany, now they have extended that to January next year. Like
Oh,
you
then
only
it's
need to
okay.
start it from January next year.
Oh,
But
then
you,
it's okay.
yeah, you can
Then
still
it's
check
okay.
once.
No problem. If that's
That's a,
okay.
yeah, I'm sorry, because it's new, I wasn't thinking of that. Right, that's essentially a tax, and it's a way for countries to share information before someone gets on an airplane exactly
Yes,
about who's coming. And
exactly.
Israel, I don't understand it, but Israel has to be at the same level as the EU and the Americas. So that's something that is new, but right, if Paushali has that new information, because I know she brings groups here from time to time, yeah, then that's probably accurate. But if we need to know about that, then you will find that information.
About insurance, I don't need from there. I'm already insured every day, so I can cover my own insurance.
I'm talking about travel insurance, so that if
Yes.
this is the policy, and we've
Okay,
looked,
okay. Thank you.
Marzi and I have looked at 3 different tour operators because of the situation. They all expect payment at least a month in advance, and and each one's a little bit different, but basically they have various policies about refundable or not refundable. And I'd rather you spend an extra $50 or $100 to buy an insurance policy that if you get sick, or if escalation in the war breaks out, or if flight cancellations happen, for whatever reason, there might be an interruption, I want you each covered.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, this is Tom in Virginia.
Hey, Tom.
We're curious about, obviously this will be a spiritual journey, and have you given some thought about spiritual direction, devotions, etc.? Thank you.
Basically, the short answer is yes. I want to ask Marzi to opine on that. First of all, if you haven't ever experienced a traditional Shabbat, Friday evening dinner, we will be doing that, and that will be a really important spiritual component. I was asked by one of the tour operators, do we want to go to a particular church on Sunday, or conversely, will our community become the church, so to speak, and we'll organize our own worship together? Marzi and I will figure that out, but we welcome input. This is because you're going to be part of a pilot program, we want your input. Certainly, whether it's even scripted or not, necessarily because of who you are and what you're going to be coming to do, there will be an abundant, not just opportunity, but necessity for prayer. And I think the last thing that I can just add to that, especially if you've not been to Israel before, at least 2 of the 3 days of touring will be in Jerusalem. And that will be significant, of course, recognizing, going back to Lorraine's question earlier, that it's a trip that's meant for Christians, specifically, not exclusive to, but the touring will be especially with an eye to make it a meaningful spiritual experience for Christians. Marzi, anything you wanted to add?
No, I just wanted to say, Jacob, I think your mic is on and we are hearing the news from your home.
Pastor Mitchell, I see you unmuted yourself. Do you have a question?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Can we count on you at the end?
That'd be good.
Good. Okay. We'll call when we finish, when we're done with the questions.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Other questions,
Jonathan,
folks?
do
Yeah.
you want to mention if there is a possibility of having speakers or interviews?
Interviews, did you say?
Yeah. Like media something I don't know.
So, okay, so the speakers, thank you for that. The speakers are what I alluded to in terms of evening activities. One of the people, and this actually goes into Tom's question a minute ago about spiritual. We're going to connect you to some great people, and I mean, because he's a friend, I envision that, I hope, if time permits, we'll have people like Chris Mitchell, who's the CBN bureau chief, come as a speaker and to join us, and others like that. And I haven't even asked Chris about it, so don't quote me on that. But we're going to have these opportunities. For those of you who don't know Marzi, you're going to get to know her and her story and her testimony, which is super inspiring and interesting. But that's the idea, is that I don't know how tired we're all going to be after a day of harvesting olives, but we want to give you the opportunity, the over dinner, after dinner, certainly to hear from interesting people like the mayor of Sderot, like Chris Mitchell, others from communities, political leaders, religious leaders. So that I kind of envision will be on a daily basis. And as I said earlier, while we're in the communities, we'll certainly have an opportunity to engage with their residents and members as well. What other questions do you have? I do want to encourage everybody. There may be more. No worries about the microphone. Thank you, Jacob.
I want, okay.
Yes, who has a
I
question?
want to ask, it is 10 days is a little bit short because I get used to work 6 weeks or 3 months when I was working through Sarael. And now I'm retired and have free time. Is it possible to stay there and work for more weeks by my own expense?
So the short answer should be yes. As far as the need regarding olives, I can't answer that, because one of the questions that we don't know is how many olive trees we will pick in these communities. We might find that after a week, we've picked all the trees and there are none. That doesn't mean, and there are many, many opportunities for volunteering, and even unrelated to this program, I'm happy to help you come up with other opportunities. There are and will be needs for that. But sure, if people want to extend to volunteer, great. If people want to communicate and say, I'm coming to Israel for the first time, can I add 3 days of touring afterward? We can try and put together a group if there's somebody if there's enough people who want a group for that. So we'll definitely be as accommodating to that. And someone also asked the question about coming for a shorter period. That can also be done, but the pricing will probably be off because some of the fixed prices we have to amortize over everybody. But look, it's our first year. We're going to be as accommodating as possible. We want everyone to participate.
Okay, thank you very much. I can find
course.
my own way also.
Of course.
Thank you.
Other questions? I do want to encourage you. I mean, it's fine, and we expected that we would be about an hour, and it's terrific if we wrap up now. I do want to encourage you afterward. Everyone's got my email, or if you don't, you will, and I will send a follow-up, and I will send the link to this video so you can watch it and share it and pray about it. And just as soon as we know details about pricing and registration and everything else that goes with it, I'll communicate it. I'd love to know in the coming days, based on what you've heard, and I know that there are still many variables, who'd be inclined to join based on that. You know what? Let me say, David, you asked the question in terms of total price. I'm perhaps stupidly transparent, but I got to put it out there. We have to base the price on the lowest possible number so that we don't lose money. But the truth of the matter is, how many people are we here now? 26 who are here. If you all come, and there were another the more people we have, the lower
The
the
more-
price goes. So if we have that, if we see that in fact it's going to be lower, then the price actually may go down. But we have to base it on the lowest amount possible. Marzi, unless there are any other questions, and before we wrap up, and I took the liberty of asking Pastor Mitchell if he would close us in prayer, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I just, again, I wanted to encourage people here that to share this project with other Christians that they may not be connected with them, and again emphasize that this is very important timing as Christians to get involved and to show our love, to show our friendship and support to our Jewish brothers and sisters. And this is one way that we can help them to build their community, to build friendship with them. And I'm very excited. I talked to a few of my friends and they asked about security, about security, and I understand their concerns. But I, as a Christian, I have faith that my life is in God's hand, and all of us as children of God, our life is in God's hands. And I believe no one is able to take my life away until my mission is finished in this world, no matter where I am. I'm not saying that as Christians, we should be stupid to throw ourselves to fire and test God, but if this is God's will, I think this will happen, and it's happening. And that's my prayer for the state of Israel, that God protect it from these terrorists. And this is the way that we can build this friendship, unity, to show our love to Israel and support it. Thank you so much, everyone, for
Thanks,
joining.
Marzi. Real quick before I ask Pastor Mitchell to close in prayer, Steve Warp didn't see my text message. Steve, do me a favor, please. Put the 10 from the Nations website in the chat for everybody. We're not here doing commercial plugs, and it's not a commercial thing, but for those of you who don't know, Monday night we begin the commemoration of the 9th of Av, the 9th of the Hebrew month of Av, and that is a day that's been historically, going back more than 2,500 years, a day of a lot of calamities that have befallen the Jewish people. If you're interested, I can send a link to the podcast interview I just did with Steve Werp and another friend, Al McCarn. But I would encourage you to check out 10fromthenations.org. Steve just posted that. Oh, he posted it to me personally, but I want to put it for all of you because I can't, Steve. Do me a favor, post it to everybody just so people can see it. Beginning on Monday night and Tuesday Israel time, they're going to be doing 27 hours, I think, of programming from Israel, connecting Christians all over the world with this observance, and it's an important day. So thank you for doing that, Steve. Pastor Mitchell, we haven't met
I
yet.
just share one
one
second
more
about it,
question,
Jonathan. I just share.
I do. I
Sorry,
have
go ahead.
one more question if I could.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to raise funds for this because I'm not a rich man. So is there a way that we could use the 501c3 from Genesis 1, 2, 3 to raise funds to get the funds that we need for helping out to get there?
Bold question. Let's talk about that offline. I'll say this. I don't like to say no to people, so I'll say maybe. Okay. It's actually a very good question and provokes me to wonder if I can do a similar model as we have with our Run for Zion program. Marzi, let's discuss that.
That's what I was thinking, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pastor Mitchell, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm hoping I'll get to see you here next month, but love your comments and for you to close us out in prayer today.
Okay, thank you. Good being here, that's for sure. Father, I just thank you for the very informative meeting with John and Marzi. God, I just thank you that you're just going to stir hearts all around the globe to get involved in helping the Jewish people, to stand for Israel, to stand with them. and that the love of God is going to shine through. Father God, just thank you that just being a part of this meeting today and to be able to share with our congregation, and hopefully that there'll be many just like myself, and we'll see this grow and develop into something that makes a great difference in the land of Israel. And we just bless your name today in Jesus' name. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Okay, friends, new and old. I will say this, even though I never can speak on behalf of Marzi, but on behalf of Marzi and myself, really thank you for joining. Thank you for your interest. I do pray that this will be a great, great, great success and that you'll all be able to participate. Do be in touch. There will be many more updates, questions to come, and don't hesitate to ask. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you,
Shabu
Jonathan.
Atov.
Thank you,
Toda.
Marcy.
Toda Rabba, Shabu Atov.
Toda Rava. Blessings from Argentina, from an olive grove area.
Oh, excellent.
In Cruz del Eje, they have olive groves, and they've come to hear more about Israel in my house. So bless you, Jonathan.
We'll see you here in October.
You have to pray. There's no way I can send any money, so we have to pray about that.
All right.
Bless you.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Marzi, you and I will catch up.
Yes.
Okay. Bye. Thank you for helping.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.